Hi everyone, my name is Nicole Lentini. I'm one of the Senior Assistant Directors of Admission here at Champlain College. I am very excited to be kicking off our third Hangout of this week. Tonight we have a panel of wonderful women in different programs in our Information Technology and Sciences division, different majors in that division, and so they're going to talk a little bit about their experiences being current students here at Champlain. Your host tonight is Reilly, so I'm going to hand it over to her, but I wanted to remind all of you that if you have any questions, you can tweet them to us at Champlain SA. That's for Champlain Student Ambassador, Champlain SA, and we'll make sure to ask them during this chat. And if you missed it live and we're watching it in the archives, as always, feel free to reach out to us, and we're happy to answer questions. But we're very excited to have you join us. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Mary.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much, Nicole. So yeah, welcome to our Champlain College's kind of Google Hangout week, hitting a bunch of topics that we were hoping people are interested in hearing about, getting perspective from some of our students. So who we have with us today are including myself, 4 female students from the ITS division who have different experiences. They've been involved in different programs, and they're in different years, just to get kind of a good comprehensive feel for what our programs are like and what it's like to actually be in them. So yeah, I guess if everyone's okay with it, we could quickly start with a quick introduction. I'll start. I am Mary Reilly. I'm a senior in the Digital Forensics program here at Champlain College. I'm also an intern for admissions, and I'm involved in a couple of different projects on campus and roles working in student leadership and student activities. So yeah, take it away. Emily, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm a sophomore, and my major is computer networking and cybersecurity. I'm going to do a specialization in cybersecurity and hopefully a minor in digital forensics. What do I do on campus? It's a lot. So I'm a peer advisor at Champlain, so if you're not familiar, we facilitate a bunch of lead programs and are generally around to help everyone out and get you adjusted to college. I have an internship at the Leahy Center for Digital Investigation, which is a digital forensic lab on campus, so that's super awesome, and I'm sure I'm forgetting like 12 things, but oh well.
Awesome, great. Laura? You're muted. Happens.
I'm Laura. I'm a game programming major with a minor in math. I'm a sophomore here at Champlain, and I'm a part of the student engagement team, which is a group of students, and we help out the student ambassadors from time to time. And I'm also a part of the Free and Open Source Technology Club on campus. We do a lot of cool things like learn about different softwares, and we just built a hexcopter, and we're always doing new things. So that's some of the things I like to do on campus.
Very cool. And last but not least.
Hi, I'm Makki. Is it coming to me? Right, it is? Alright, I'm a computer science major. I'm a first year. I do quite a little bit too much on campus. I'm a part of ACM, which is like a basically computer programming, computer science in general club. It's really fun. I do also a lot of other random things, like I'm in the equestrian club. I'm involved in the Champlain Drama Club, the student-run drama club that's new this semester. Yeah, I do a lot of things here.
Very cool. Awesome. So we have a variety of programs and majors in the ITS division, most of which who are represented here tonight. And I know for some people looking at the college, they can look a little bit, the same. There is some overlap. So I was hoping that we could just kind of go through and talk briefly about a little bit what our programs are like. So, for instance, digital forensics, sometimes people hear forensics and they go to like the criminal, like blood analysis and like crime scene kind of stuff. Not quite the same area. Digital forensics is it's the study and acquisition of digital evidence. So we work with computers and phones, anything of the sort that carries electronic data, and figure out how to acquire it in a safe way and analyze it And there's a lot of hidden information that you can find in very interesting ways, and it differs by operating system and the type of storage, and it's a lot of fun. So it's kind of more geared towards security and investigation. So that's a little bit what digital forensics is about. Emily, would you like to talk about computer networking?
Yeah, my major is computer networking and cybersecurity. So the first half of that is a lot of what your kind of local IT guy at a department would do. It's maintenance of the networks and all the back-end stuff that looks like in the super scary like server rooms you see in bad hacker movies. Like that's where they're hanging out. And then the cybersecurity part focuses a lot on network defense. You've probably seen stuff online about like this bank was hacked or like Target screwed up and all the credit card data was stolen. My job is to prevent that from happening. So hopefully once I graduate, I can help protect your credit cards.
Yes, excellent. Laura? Sound.
I'll stop doing that, I promise.
No
So
problem.
the game programming major is actually really cool and really fun, and when people hear game development, they usually think of like, oh, like what is this game about? Oh, look at the art, look at what the plot is, but really the programmers are the whole behind the scenes, making the things work, kind of, like putting it all together and doing the code. A lot of people don't really, they underestimate like what you really have to do as a programmer, and it's really cool once you realize what you are doing, whether you're doing like scripting in Unity or you're just working in like some other thing. Like I know we're doing Unity right now, but we're able to make games entirely on our own our first semester. And what's great about the major itself is we collaborate with other artists and designers, and in one of our first classes of the first year, we're able to know how an artist thinks and how a designer thinks, and be able to put that all together so that you can really like be well-rounded.
Very cool. Very cool. And Zynab, would you like to talk about computer science?
Sure. Well, computer science is a lot more of the. It's going, by the way. Computer science is a lot more of the like programming and basically problem solving in different computing languages. It spans like all over different operating systems, like writing stuff in Windows, writing stuff for apps, whether it's Android or iOS or anything else. It's almost creative in its own way, but it's like any program that you see, like with Spotify or even Chrome or Skype, it was coded, it was programmed, and that's what computer science is doing. That's what we do. There are specializations like mobile app development, which is making the apps and on your phone that you use every day, and software development, which is more like the programs on your computer. I think it's really fun. It's really cool to be able to create things, and writing out the actual code and being able to know exactly what it's doing and why it's doing that is really fun.
Awesome. Super cool. Yeah, so there's a lot of there's a little bit of overlap. Sometimes it gets confusing. One of the meaner jokes is that digital forensics people are the people who come in to help out after something goes wrong with the computer networking people. That's not always true though, and also there's tons of overlap, and it's kind of a spectrum. It's very specialized into exactly what you want to do, which is very exciting. And then the specializations in the program or the optional minor really help you kind of hone in on what you're passionate about specifically. So that's really cool because you get to get a lot of expertise really fast about something very specific as you come out into the job market with a really particular set of skills. So I'm just kind of wondering how people got into their programs. Like, what got you interested in your major and the ITS division? Me, because it was a little bit of an impulse, really. It was like me looking at the college and being like, this college looks really cool, but what would I do? And then I was like, forensics sounds cool, and here I am 3.5 years later, fully committed to the idea. And it ended up being something I'm really passionate about, that idea of problem solving and putting together the pieces, finding out how things work and all the evidence left over, which is one of the fun things about digital forensics is that everybody, people, they can all lie, but ones and zeros never will, it's excellent if you know where to look. So that's kind of how I got into digital forensics. And Ellie, how did you get interested in your major?
I had always wanted to work in technology for a really long time. I'd wanted to be an engineer since like 7th grade or something. And then I realized how much physics is involved in engineering and how I really didn't like physics, or physics didn't like me. It was kind of unclear. But so I got more into computer science later in high school, and then I realized how much math computer science had. So really this is just a long odyssey of me trying to avoid subjects that I don't like. And I managed to find probably the only program on the East Coast that could let me fool around with computers as much and only have to take one math class. So I was really looking into computer science. I got a flyer from Champlain College, and when it listed the majors, I was like, ooh, that looks like fun. And lo and behold, here I am, and it is a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, I totally understand that too. The only math I absolutely had to take was statistics, and I was like, sign me up. But
yep.
Yeah, for a technical major, it's one of the digital forensics, and then probably computer networking underneath it are probably one of the less kind of math inclined areas to study in the ITS division. Laura, how did you get involved in game programming?
Well, ever since I think like the 2nd grade, I've been trying to make my own video games, and I didn't really know anything about how to make a game, so it usually wouldn't work out too well. I'd kind of like succeed in installing some sort of engine and then get really lost and be like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I also went to a high school that offered absolutely no computer classes whatsoever, and I was like, well, I still want to make games. I don't know what to do. So I visited Champlain, and I actually talked to one of the professors here, Professor Ferguson, and I remember he just completely sold the major and the school to me. I realized, like, yeah, design's awesome, but I don't know if I have what it takes to be a designer. That's a lot of work on my shoulders. But then art, there's no way I can ever be an artist. Art's just not my forte. So then I thought, like, hey, I really like math. I was always pretty good at math. I like problem solving, I like logic, and I like sitting down in a chair all the time and going on the computer. So that fit well, and the way the professors just talked to me about the school and how passionate they were about the major itself made me think, like, wow, if I go here, I'm definitely going to get, like my time's worth. So that really just sold me in.
Awesome. And of course, Zynab.
Well, I had always been very into computers. I think you're echoing again. My mom always told stories about how at like 18 months I was sitting at a computer playing games, actually. Not really sure how good that is for a kid, but I turned out all right. I was always super into games, and I even did like a game, like basically a media and game design program my senior year of high school, which was more of like filmmaking and storytelling and then game design. And the one thing that it really taught me is that I love video games, but I don't want to make them because I was like critiquing or like, you know, thinking critically about them rather than actually making them, because then I have to go through all this effort of being creative. And sometimes you just want to fix a problem, and that's really why I like computer science. I took my junior year of high school, I took a computer science class, and I was really quick at it, and it came so naturally to me, and it was really fun, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm really enjoying myself now. When all my all of my my programs that I'm making, even just in class, even the simple ones, it's really cool to be like, oh, this was easy. This is exactly what it's doing. This is exactly the calculation that it's doing, and this is what it does. I like that. I really do.
Very cool. Yeah, I dig it. It's interesting, especially coming out of high school. I know a lot of people who have come into the ITS division who have a lot of technical experience, and I know plenty of people who came in knowing virtually nothing at all. I tend to be more on the second side of those things, and that's okay, because even though classes here are really hands-on right away at the beginning, they kind of go back and they take it from the ground up, and you get into the basics right away. But you do start with the basics, so that's good to know. It's one of those things where I wouldn't want anyone to be like intimidated about not knowing enough coming into the program. Yeah, so I want to bring something up, and this is a little bit selfish because I'm a senior, and this question was a favorite at the Thanksgiving dinner table, but I want to talk about what people in these majors go on to do, or what maybe some of you are thinking about doing in the future. And for me, I'm starting to look at that whole scary job market, and it's interesting, kind of the scope of things you can do with digital forensics, and I guess you can work on the law enforcement side of things, doing investigations for law enforcement, police, even up to like FBI, NSA, all of those scary three-letter agencies, and you can also work for corporations investigating internal incidents, which is something I actually ended up doing as an intern this past summer. And you can also do stuff like incident response, which is more working kind of on call to handle like a security breach or some sort of other major incident with malware. You're kind of on the front lines of shutting it down and then going back and analyzing exactly what happened so you can stop it from happening again. Emily, would you like to talk about kind of where your degree would take you in the future?
There's a lot of different options. If you're computer networking and cybersecurity, you can go on to be a net admin. That's pretty popular because in this day and age, everyone needs a net admin. Any business of a reasonable size needs someone on top of their computer deal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of focusing more on the security part, and yeah, that's because I also think it's so cool. It can be a variety of things. There's designing security software, so designing antivirus software, working in prevention, so designing code to be securely built, looking for exploits in security consulting. Penetration testing is really big, which is when you basically hire me, well, hopefully you hire me, to break your network and come in and point out where your flaws are and how you can fix them. There's a whole wide range. It's almost scary how many options there are.
Yeah. Definitely. That's, it's one of those skill sets, like a lot of the technical majors, it's never going to go out of style, so to speak. Literally everybody needs a net admin. Laura, your program kind of shows a little bit more of what you would be doing. So you want to talk about that?
Sure. So the great thing about it is if I somehow decide that, like, hey, maybe I don't want to work in games anymore, what's great is I can really do anything that I want to do in technology because the classes we take are so many different types of programming courses and theory courses and math courses that if you're like, hey, games aren't for me, you don't have to worry about that because you can go anywhere with it. But me personally, I want a job, but I'd like to work in Montreal after college. There's one company called Critical Hit, and they're a small little game studio, and they have focused a lot on wearable technology. So, like, for example, they're working on a game right now where you wear these gloves that they make themselves, like they knit themselves their controllers, and like the game is you got to do fist bumps and high fives to get through the level and fight bosses. And I think that's so cool how you can turn virtual reality into wearable technology. And I'd really like to go somewhere in that general direction.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Yeah. Gaming, it changes so fast. And you mentioned Montreal. I'm gonna like cut off for a second. Go off the kind of the topic. Is studying abroad in Montreal something that you have done or plan to do?
I am totally planning on going next year. I think I want to go second semester, but I know that's like basically the hub for game development, and the professors that I'll have there all work in the industry, so basically they'll be coming home from work and then coming to campus to teach us. So I'm super excited for that, and I'm really hoping to see where that will take me further in my education as well, because I heard from every upperclassman I've talked to about studying abroad is like, you have to go to Montreal. It's such a great experience.
Yeah. Definitely. Just to touch on it, just in case there's anybody watching who doesn't know, as far as study abroad goes, there was actually a great hangout about it on Monday, and it's archives, and you should check it out. But briefly, there's two campuses that Champlain College has abroad. One of them is in Montreal, Canada, and the other one is in Dublin, Ireland. And with our global partners and third-party programs, you can study abroad virtually anywhere in the world. But Montreal and Dublin are really popular places to study abroad for our students, and about half of our students study abroad at some point, so that's really fun. And I don't remember, has anyone here studied in Ireland by any chance? No? Okay. Well, yeah. You would hope with two Reillys, unrelated by the way, that one of us would have gone, but no. But yeah, it's definitely a possibility with all of the majors to go there and not lose any time, so that's fantastic. And Zynab, if you wanted to talk at all about what you want to do with your computer science degree?
Yeah, I'm honestly really open to what I want to do. I know that I could, any big name company, like I could go to Google, I could go to, I don't know where else, I could work in games if I wanted to, but I think personally what I might try and do with minors too is that I want to be in almost more of a management position in the field of like working with, because one skill that I know I have is working, like I can pretty easily learn a little bit about a lot of things, so that's one of my strengths. So being in a more management position in the tech field, in like in programming, would really work well with me. Like there's a minor that I was looking at that I hadn't actually heard much about like management and information systems, that has a bunch of management courses and CIT, like information systems courses, that I think would really, it's about like, it is kind of like networking. I think it bridges into networking, but being something that bridges all that. I haven't looked into it quite enough yet because I am only a first year, so I have a little while, but
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, I've probably swapped what I wanted to do like 3 times, like no pressure. There's like people graduating this year, like I know a guy who's a digital forensics major, and he's like, I really want to open a restaurant.
I mean, that sounds like me.
Right?
I do theater, like, I don't know what I'm doing in my life.
Yeah. But hey, it's a base to go anywhere you want to go. I mean, especially with computer science, but just having a college degree is massive.
Yeah, and you can honestly go into any company, no matter what. You could go into, like, you could make websites for whatever you want. You could be like a web developer and make websites for all this random stuff like knitting and theater that you want to do. It's applicable to. It's honestly applicable to almost any field.
Yeah.
Computer science. It's great. It's a great base.
It's super versatile, which is fantastic. Yeah. So one of the reasons that we put this kind of Google Hangout together is partially because, as we all know, IT kind of roles and studies tend to be a little lighter when it comes to women, professionals and women students. So we wanted to get together a group to kind of, represent that those people exist, and that they're, that they have experiences with the college and with the industry that are positive and real, and to just kind of be a little bit of reinforcement, because it can be a little scary. I don't know if anyone here has like any stories they want to share about kind of what it's like to be in this position.
I have a couple thoughts, especially coming into this year. So I live in the smallest dorm on campus, Carriage House. There are 15 residents, including the RA, and 5 of them are females, and 10 of them are males. So I already live in that kind of environment, but I've been very lucky in that. I don't even know if it's lucky, but I've been in like a good situation where I get along very well with guys, and all of the ones around me, I've never been like specifically, nothing bad has ever specifically happened to me as far as being in the field, and not like the only one thing, and I just think people discrediting women if they're in like a tech field is kind of funny, because it's just kind of, I guess, stupid. But no, that's kind of bad to say. But hey, there was one time when I started, I like walked into a room of a bunch of like tech guys, and one of them looked at, the rest of them knew me and knew like who I was and what my major was and everything, and then one of them looked at me like, hey, what are you doing here? I'm like, hi. And started talking, and then he asked me what my major is, and I tell him it's computer science, and he goes, oh, okay. Later tells me that he didn't really respect me at all until I said my major, and I was like, oh, all right.
Gosh. Yeah.
But I mean, that's the only weird thing that's ever happened to me. I find it really funny, and I personally think that any weird stuff that happens like that, if it's just taken lightly, because anyone that does that, you don't need to, if you just let it go and let it be, and then do you, and be that person, be strong in your field. I think that's the best thing to do. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I totally agree. And then you get out there, once you especially start studying and start working, and realize that the world is a lot different from the stereotypes. And it's always really refreshing to see, especially last summer I got the biggest opportunity of my career thus far, and that was to work for DirecTV's forensics team out in LA, which was fantastic and weird. LA is a weird town, but great. And their forensics team, if you included me as the intern, was predominantly female, which was a lot of fun. And it was this great collaborative environment. Everyone exchanged information, a lot of learning going on collectively, and it was just a really, really fantastic environment. And I really enjoyed that quite a lot. Anybody else have any comments they want to add?
Sure, I'll go. I've never, I think the stereotypes, to a certain extent, there's, a very stereotypical, cybersecurity nerd hacker stereotype. It does come from somewhere real.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I have met so many really good friends in my major, and all of the guys I've talked to, in the beginning, occasionally, I definitely will get some weird looks, but then they realize I kind of know what I'm doing, and that I finished the lab 10 minutes ago, and so no, I don't need their help, thank you. It's kind of cute sometimes how they'll try to be louder or be impressive, and you're like, oh, that's nice, thanks, but you're a cool person. But I give everyone a chance, I guess would be my best advice, because I've only really met good people. And they're all so helpful and so nice, because, as you said, I definitely came in on the knowing nothing side of it. And so for a while, it was really hard for me to get over the asking questions, because I was like, oh, I'm the only girl here. I got to be tough. I got to know what I'm doing all the time. And then I realized, no, I don't. Hey, can someone please help me? And I guess originally, felt like I'd lose respect for that, and I never have. Everyone's always been like, oh, sure, here's how you do this. And then later they'll come back and ask you questions, and I think that's the most rewarding thing, is realizing you can still build these awesome friendships. Like, even though, okay, so it's a gender thing, like, that's never going to change. It's just going to stick it out, so I might as well have some fun while I'm here.
Yeah, totally. Laura, did you have something you wanted to add?
This actually reminded me of an article I read maybe like a few months ago. One of my professors actually showed it to my class. Just for anyone who like feels like it's too daunting for them, or like they're not doing well because, oh, hey, I'm a girl and I'm not learning as fast enough. Like, maybe this isn't for me. What am I doing wrong? It just reminded me, if you ever feel that way, look up Impostor Syndrome on Google or something. It's this thing where you feel like your code just isn't good. For example, for programmers, it's very prevalent in female programmers, which is why we were required to read this. And it's just like, you'll never be good enough, and the only reason why you're where you are is because of flukes, and like you're getting lucky, and that's why you keep prevailing, and that eventually you're just gonna like fail out. But like, that's a real thing, and I know personally I am deeply affected by it, and I feel like a lot of other people are too, but I think it's important to know that that's a thing and that they're not the only one. So it just reminded me, you can like just Google that. There's so many different articles about it, and it's so interesting too. So if you ever feel like it's because of your gender, that's like absolutely not it, and not to let that be a discouraging factor.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up. Yeah, it's like a very real phenomenon that women aren't trying out STEM fields because they feel like that's not where they're supposed to be, or they feel like they're faking it. And it happens, with women applying to jobs. And it's really, really important to know that you're not supposed to have all the answers, because I can't speak for the rest of you, but I sure do not have all of the answers. I am lucky if I have half the answers. And it's, don't discredit yourself for not knowing everything, because nobody does. And if, you got to get out there, you got to raise your hand and be really loud and annoying in class and fail as quickly as possible so you can learn from it. Fail better, fail harder.
That's definitely, I get that. That's one, specifically that, like, not asking questions. I was always that kid in school who was smart, who never did anything wrong, never said anything wrong, and it started to really bite me when I started exploring like fields that like things that I really liked, and I was like, wait, but is this right? Am I right? I can't not be right. I can't be wrong. And it's that kind of feeling where, especially here, like, you can just let go. It's fine. It's fine. That's something I'm still struggling with.
Yeah, it's something you gotta just get through one step at a time. But just don't be afraid of it, or at least try your best not to be afraid of it. And you learn a lot from it really fast. Awesome. Well, I think we hit on some really good stuff today. Is there anything anyone wants to say as kind of a wrap-up comment, or because
I'll go with, like, if it's something you're looking for, and if you do end up going to Champlain, like, know there are other girls out there. At the very least, there's like the 4 of us. So I think the most empowering thing when I came to Champlain was finally meeting the other girls in cybersecurity. I believe there's 6 of us in the entirety of the major, and I made it a point at the beginning of this year to know all of them by name, and to the point I could say hi to them. And like, they are out there. Find them. They will answer your questions. They will help you. We all, whenever we see each other, like, there is a support network out there. You're not as alone as you feel sitting in the back of a classroom full of all guys. Like, there are other girls out there, and they will help you out.
Yeah, definitely. And they're always there to lean on to. Don't, be scared of upperclassmen or anybody else. Yeah, definitely. And if you ever have any questions, or you want to hear from any of us or somebody in your program to know what it's like, you know where to find us, and there are more of us, I promise. There's at least 4 of those, so we're off to a good start. Awesome. Nicole, is there anything else you'd like to wrap up with?
No, that was fantastic. It's probably good that I was muted here because I was cracking up at a lot of things from this chat. So thank you, ladies, so much. That was fantastic. And I'm so glad we had some live viewers tuning in. I didn't see any questions from Twitter during the broadcast, but like I said, feel free to reach out to any of us. I know Mary has a Twitter. I don't know if any of the other ladies do, but we're happy to connect you with them one way or another. So please feel free to reach out to us. Thanks again for joining in with us. We are going to have one more hangout this week, tomorrow night. It's about student life and events that happen at Champlain. And as Mary mentioned before, we do have the past ones from this week archived on YouTube, so feel free to check it out there. On our blog, champlainadmissions.champlain.edu, or like I said, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, we're all over the place. So hopefully we'll connect with you soon. Thank you again, and thank you, ladies, for doing this panel tonight.
Sure, thanks a lot, Nicole.
All right, bye, everybody.